Hello, Muslim friends of the world. Los Angeles, the city that never sleeps, roared under the scorching summer heat. The blue sky turned gray, and the air was filled with the bitter scent of ash. That day, a massive wildfire dubbed the Angeles Inferno swept through the city at terrifying speed. The fire, which began in a remote valley, had already consumed hundreds of acres, destroying homes, buildings, and everything in its path. The flames spared nothing, devouring all in their wake. Amid the chaos of this disaster stood Masjid al-Hikmah, a grand mosque with pristine white walls adorned with golden calligraphy at its entrance. This mosque had long served as a spiritual oasis for the Muslim community in Los Angeles. But now its fate hung by a thread. The fire was closing in on the area, and many doubted the building could be saved. Inside the mosque, the atmosphere was different. Dozens of worshippers, led by Imam Malik, sat in a circle for communal prayers. The recitation of Quranic verses echoed through the main hall, trying to drown out the piercing sirens of fire trucks outside. The congregation prayed not only for the safety of the mosque, but also for the entire city struggling against this calamity. "Never underestimate the power of prayer," said Imam Malik firmly, though his face betrayed exhaustion. "Allah is all-powerful. He hears every hope, every whisper of our hearts. If it is His will, this mosque will be protected." Not everyone among the congregation was as calm. Among them was Aiden, a young convert to Islam who had embraced the faith only a few months earlier. He was still grappling with understanding his new belief, and this disaster was testing his faith. Gazing at the approaching flames through the mosque's windows, he asked Imam Malik quietly, "Will Allah really save us, Imam? What if this mosque is destroyed like the others?" Imam Malik gave a gentle smile. "If Allah wills, even a fire this great will not touch a single stone of this mosque. But remember, miracles are not just about what happens outside. The true miracle is what happens in our hearts when we learn to trust Him completely." Outside the mosque, non-Muslim residents of the area watched anxiously. To them, Masjid al-Hikmah was not just a place of worship, it was a symbol of harmony. Over the years, the mosque had hosted many community events, from feeding the homeless to organizing free educational programs. Now they felt an impending sense of loss. "There's no way that mosque will survive," one resident said to a friend. "Look at those flames. They're too massive. Even the concrete buildings nearby didn't stand a chance." Yet as everyone watched the mosque with a sense of resignation, the sky suddenly shifted. The wind, which had been pushing the fire toward the mosque, began to blow in the opposite direction. Everyone fell silent. The inferno, which had seemed unstoppable as it approached the mosque, began to slow down, as if held back by an invisible force. In the distance, a firefighter named Chris stood frozen, a hose in his hands. He was no stranger to wildfires, but this was different. "Do you see that?" he whispered to his colleague. "The fire. It's like it stopped right in front of the mosque." Night fell, but the skies over Los Angeles refused to darken. The fiery glow from the wildfire blazed like an inferno on the horizon, consuming everything in its path. The wail of sirens, the roar of firefighting helicopters, and the cries of residents created a mournful symphony that echoed across the city. Yet, in the vicinity of Masjid al-Hikmah, something extraordinary was unfolding. The fire, which had razed homes and buildings around it, suddenly stopped at the mosque's gates. The wind that had been driving the flames toward the mosque abruptly shifted direction, as if shielding the grand white structure. The congregation, still gathered inside the mosque, slowly stepped out into the courtyard, holding their breath as they witnessed the miracle before their eyes. "Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar," whispered one worshiper, tears glistening in their eyes. Others raised their hands to the sky, offering prayers of gratitude. Imam Malik stood among them, leading the prayers, his voice now filled with deep emotion. Not everyone who witnessed the event was Muslim. Non-Muslim neighbors who lived around the mosque gathered outside the gates, stunned by what they saw. Among them was Clara, a journalist who lived not far from the mosque. She had initially come to cover the wildfire, but what she witnessed that night changed her purpose entirely. "This can't be possible," Clara muttered, snapping pictures of the intact mosque amidst the devastation. "Everything else around here is destroyed. Why is this mosque the only thing left standing?" She approached a firefighter, Chris, who also appeared baffled. "Have you ever seen anything like this before?" Clara asked. Chris shook his head, his eyes still fixed on the mosque. "Never. The wind, it just shifted out of nowhere. Earlier, it was pushing the flames right toward the mosque. It's like..." He paused, searching for the right words. "It's like something was protecting that place." Meanwhile, Aiden, the young convert who had previously struggled with doubt, stood on the mosque's steps. He stared at the fire, which was now gradually dying down, circling the mosque but never touching it. His body trembled, not with fear, but with awe that flooded his heart. He turned to Imam Malik, his eyes brimming with tears. "Imam," he said, his voice shaking, I saw it with my own eyes. Allah truly protected us. I've never felt faith this strong before." Imam Malik gently placed a hand on Aiden's shoulder. "Allah always shows his signs, Aiden. The problem is, we're often too busy to notice them. Tonight, he has shown his power to all of us, Muslims and non-Muslims alike." News of the mosque that survived the fire quickly spread. Videos and photos of the incident went viral on social media, drawing attention from people around the world. Many tried to find a scientific explanation. Fire experts arrived to study the site, seeking to understand how the mosque remained intact, while every other building around it was reduced to ashes. Yet their findings only deepened the mystery. "The mosque's materials are heat-resistant," one engineer explained, "but that doesn't explain everything. The sudden change in wind direction was the key factor in saving the mosque. However, there's no logical explanation for why the wind shifted like that." For those who witnessed the event, there was no doubt it was a miracle. Even skeptics began to wonder. Clara, the journalist, decided to dig deeper into the story of the mosque and the community behind it. She interviewed Imam Malik, who welcomed her with a warm smile. "Imam," Clara asked, "what do you think about all this? Many people are calling it a miracle." Imam Malik smiled gently. "Miracles are not new in human history. Allah has always shown his power to those willing to open their hearts and see. This mosque was not saved because the building itself is special, but because of the prayers and faith we offered to him. And perhaps this is Allah's way of reminding us all, regardless of religion or background, that he is the Almighty." Clara fell silent. Imam Malik's words resonated deeply in her mind as the night wore on. She had come to the mosque intending to cover a story, but now her heart was stirred. Outside, many others felt the same. This miracle wasn't just about the fire that stopped. It was the beginning of something far greater, something that would touch the hearts of thousands in Los Angeles and beyond. Los Angeles gradually recovered from the devastating wildfire that had ravaged the city. Yet one place continued to dominate conversations: Masjid al-Hikmah. The miracle that unfolded at the mosque had deeply moved countless hearts, inspiring many to seek a deeper understanding of the event's meaning. In the days following the fire, the mosque became a hub of visitors. Not only did the Muslim community gather to express their gratitude, but people of all backgrounds, Christians, Jews, atheists, and even those who claim no faith, came as well. They didn't come merely to witness the building that stood untouched amidst destruction, but to grasp the spiritual message hidden within the miracle. Clara, the journalist, was among those most profoundly affected. For weeks, she visited the mosque regularly, speaking with Imam Malik, the congregation, and even studying the Quran. Initially, her visits were motivated by her pursuit of a compelling story, but over time, her professional curiosity evolved into a deeply personal journey. "I can't ignore what happened," Clara confided to Imam Malik one afternoon. "What I witnessed here is more than just an inexplicable event. Every time I step into this mosque, I feel a peace I've never felt before." "How do you explain that?" Imam Malik gave a gentle smile. "Peace is a gift from Allah to those who seek it. Clara, Allah often speaks to us through the signs around us, but only those with open hearts can hear him. What you're feeling may be his call." Clara fell silent, her heart swelling with emotions she had never experienced before, a conviction quietly but powerfully stirring her soul. Meanwhile, Aiden, the young convert who had once been riddled with doubt, now stood as one of the mosque's most active volunteers. Witnessing the miracle had solidified his faith, and he began sharing his story with visitors. Among them was a man named Jack, a former firefighter who had witnessed firsthand how the wind seemed to protect the mosque. "I don't believe in God," Jack told Aiden skeptically. "But what I saw that night, I can't explain it logically." Aiden smiled. "I was like you, Jack. I searched for answers in the wrong places. But when I opened my heart and started learning about Islam, I found a peace I'd never known before. Maybe that's what you're looking for." Jack didn't respond immediately, but their conversation lingered in his mind for weeks. Eventually, he returned to the mosque, requested a meeting with Imam Malik, and decided to learn more about Islam. Day by day, Masjid al-Hikmah became a center of spiritual awakening in Los Angeles. Thousands of people visited, and many ultimately embraced Islam. Among them was Clara, who, one Friday, stood tearfully in front of the congregation and recited the words that would change her life forever. "I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger." The mosque resounded with cries of Allahu Akbar, accompanied by the joyful tears of the congregation. Clara was now a Muslim, grateful for the path that had brought her to this moment. The miracle of Masjid al-Hikmah had not only spared its walls from the flames, but had ignited the fire of faith in the hearts of thousands. In less than a year, over 5,000 people in Los Angeles embraced Islam, and the numbers continued to grow. Los Angeles, once known as a city consumed by worldly affairs, now had a new narrative, a story of God's greatness and how faith could emerge from calamity. Masjid al-Hikmah, once recognized only by the Muslim community, now stood as a universal symbol of God's power that transcends all boundaries. And on quiet nights, as the mosque's light softly illuminated the Los Angeles skyline, passers-by no longer saw it as just a building. They saw it as a testament to a tangible miracle, a reminder that within every trial lies wisdom, and that even in the darkest times, there is always light.